Hello, I'm Dave Mack. In the previous video, I answered the question, do the MLM bunnies really multiply? I pointed out that the income projections presented by most network marketers, which show downlines wildly multiplying according to geometric progression, is the source of much of the public's negative attitude toward multi-level marketing. Intelligent people, the people you want to sponsor, instinctively know that you can't just sponsor 4 people, who will each sponsor 4 people, and those 16 people will each sponsor 4 people, and yada yada yada. Let's face it, if your business grew like that, in less than 3 years, you will have sponsored every man, woman, child, baby, and kangaroo on the planet. I also pointed out that most of us know network marketers who earn very good incomes, some more than $100,000 every month. My point in telling you this is merely to point out that the MLM bunnies do multiply, but not the way most network marketers paint the picture when showing their company's compensation plan. You see, there is a fatal flaw in the mathematical model used by most network marketers as they show their company's opportunity and fill their prospects with dreams of never-ending wealth. So the question you should be asking is today's topic: how do the MLM bunnies multiply? I'm going to give you the secret to how the bunnies multiply in any legitimate business. Remember Mary from the previous video? She may not have been earning $35,000 a month as her business presentation predicted, but she was earning $12,000 a month. Obviously, some bunnies multiplied for her. So let's finish my discussion with Mary as I explain to her how to make her income presentation realistic. Wouldn't it be great to be able to precisely explain to your prospects what you need to accomplish in order to become your company's next grand, high, exalted, mystic 5-star diamond coordinator? I said, Mary, to make your presentation more realistic, the first thing you need to do is take your final result, $35,000 per month, and divide it by 5. So if someone follows your plan exactly, of finding 1 new customer each week, and sponsoring 1 of these customers each month as a new business building rep, and teaches each of these new reps to find 1 new customer per week and 1 new rep per month. And if you have a good marketing program, like our Raiders of the Lost Market, that enables you to actually find and train these people, if all of these conditions are met, then this person can reasonably expect to earn about 1/5 what you originally projected, or about $7,000 per month. That is still not bad for 2 years of work, and it's far more believable. Of course, Mary asked how I came up with the idea of dividing her numbers by 5. I replied that it's a well-known business principle called the Pareto principle, the law of the vital few, or more commonly, you may have heard it referred to as the 80-20 rule. For our purposes, it can be stated this way: 20% of the people do 80% of the work. This rule works across the board in any organizational structure. Did you know that 80% of the world's wealth is in the hands of 20% of the people? Some people think that this is unfair and would like to redistribute the wealth. In the United States, in a recent presidential election, one of the candidates expressed his approval of redistribution of wealth. If you know the 80-20 rule and why it works, you realize that this is not only legalized theft, taking from those who have earned it and giving to those who have not earned, but it's also foolhardy. It's foolhardy because it's also true that even if you took all the money in the world and distributed it in equal portions to each person on the planet, within a few years it would find its way back to the original owners. Why? Because of the 80-20 rule. The top 20% of the people will always be producing 80% of the wealth. Now, I'll let you in on a little known secret. Why does the 80-20 rule hold true in any group? It's because the 80-20 rule is really based on the fact that the world operates on the bell curve. Remember when you were in school and the teacher announced that she had graded an exam on a curve? She meant the bell curve. This meant that no one in the class got 100%. So if the best score was 90%, she made that an A and started the curve there. She knew that the top 20% of the class were the A and B students. The largest group, the center of the bell, were the C, average students. And the bottom 20% were the D and F students. Now, here's the really cool part. Your network marketing business will grow exactly the same way. That's right. Your business, like every other business in the world, will grow according to the bell curve. Back to Mary. What I told her was that if her new recruit was properly trained with a good marketing plan to find the new customers and reps, and if this new recruit worked consistently each month, in other words, was part of the 20% who are the A students in her group, then and only then could this new recruit expect that 20% of her new reps would create 80% of her income. In 2 years, about $7,000 a month. In other words, 8 out of 10 of her new reps won't be creating much of her income. Planning conservatively, expect that only 20% of the people you recruit in your business will ever amount to much. Of course, the bell curve will come into play among the top 20% of your reps as well. In other words, of those who work hard in your organization and produce 80% of your income, the top 20% of this group will be superstars. Now, perhaps you're disappointed that only 20% of your reps will work hard. You say to me, Dave, I don't like that. I want better results than that. To you, I say 2 things. First, that's the way this world works. When you get your own planet, you can set things up differently. In the meantime, I suggest that the secret to success is figuring out how this world operates and then running with it. Don't try to fix the planet. You didn't create it, you don't run it, and you can't fix it to suit you. Second, I have some very good news for you. While you may be disappointed that only 20% of your networkers will actually work, the truth is that's far more than enough people to help you become truly wealthy beyond your wildest dreams. Case in point, would you agree that McDonald's is the largest food purveyor in the world? Do you know that they control 1/4 of the world's potato crop? In other words, they're huge, right? Now I want you to picture your local McDonald's. Can you see it in your mind? How big is their parking lot? What's it hold? 20, 30 cars? How many cars do you think drive by their parking lot every day? Thousands, right? How many cars actually pull into their lot? Percentage-wise, not many, right? So with just a small percentage of the possible visitors each day, they're still the largest restaurant chain in the world. In other words, there's lots of business for everyone. The pie is always expanding, and economics is not a zero-sum game. For you to win, someone else does not have to lose. Also remember, you don't need to get everyone. You just need to be industrious. You need to be a serious producer. You need to be in the top 20% yourself. And like the sower of the seed I mentioned in the previous video, your garden will yield a bountiful crop. It also helps if you represent products that truly benefit people. Then you can help a lot of people in more ways than just financial wealth. In my next 4 videos, I'm going to answer these questions. What are the 3 most important questions you should ask before starting a home-based business? Stay tuned. Until next time, I'm Dave Mack, the Internet Marketing Man with a Hat.